Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome back. Well, here we are heading into the Christmas season and got some concerns, counterfeit being one of them. I am delighted to have with us today Brian Noyes. He's the Executive Director and Strategy and Communications Director there at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Global Intellectual Property Center. How's that for a long title? And we want to talk about avoiding counterfeit goods. And Brian, good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much for having me. And Merry Christmas to you and your listeners.
Yeah. This is so interesting. How bad is this problem?
Oh, it's huge. Everywhere you go, it's amazing, especially with more people shopping online. We have found through recent polling that 6 out of 10 people are shopping online regularly. And as the holiday season comes around, there's even more of that going on. And the phrase we have around here is, if there's a product that's good enough to sell that you're going to want, there's a criminal enterprise out there that's ready to knock it off. So just about anything that you can think of, there's potential for counterfeits in it.
Wow. How do we become aware of what's real and what's not? What are you guys doing to help us with this?
Sure. So, again, we're working at this holiday season because the best answer is for a consumer to educate themselves. And, if the old adage and the number one thing to do is if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Looking for, the number one way you can protect yourself is to go through trusted sites, trusted brands, websites that you're familiar with, because that's the surest way that you're going to avoid fakes. As you're going around online, there's some other tips that we have on our Global Brand Council site. We have a top 10 tips to protect yourself. Those include looking for, when you hit that little shopping cart, it will send you to a website. This is HTTPS. The S stands for secure, so you want to look for things like that. You want to look for a contact name, phone number, or address on the website. If that's not there, then you may not be dealing with who you think you're dealing with. The graphic design and the amazing ability of criminals to put up a fake website that looks almost exactly like the one that you think you're getting is pretty amazing. So you have to be careful. Another thing is if you're on a U.S.-based retailer or web group, and somehow when you click, it takes you to a foreign or a .uk or some other country URL. It's a lot of, that's a danger sign as well. So there's a lot of telltale signs that we list on our site.
Wow. So this is primarily an online problem.
It's bigger because it's online, but it's been around for a long time. You think about the global reach and the amazing tool that the internet is for commerce. It also, as hard as legitimate companies are working, there's criminal enterprises out there working just as hard to get your dollars. And the unfortunate thing is, these are not Boy Scouts and nuns that we're talking about. If they're willing to sell you a fake consumer good or a fake toy, they're also willing to steal your identity, your credit card information. And unfortunately, they're using money from counterfeit goods to fund even worse and more significant criminal enterprises like human trafficking and drugs.
All right, let me just say to our viewers and listeners, it's theglobalipcenter.com.
That's our main website, and the tips are actually on globalbrandcouncil.com.
Globalbrandcouncil.com, okay, or
yes.
the globalipcenter.com. Either one will get you there.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so give us some tips on how to spot it.
Well, a few of them that I've already mentioned is, looking for legitimate .com sites. You'll go to a website and it looks legitimate, but if it says, the URL, the three letters afterwards are for a foreign country, you have to be suspicious. If that S is missing on the HTTPS, again, the S stands for secure, that's another telltale sign. So, looking for legitimate brands is the number one way to protect yourself.
Okay. Now, let's say the worst happens. We're scammed or we buy something that's counterfeit. What can we do?
Well, we encourage you to report it, first of all. So safeproducts.gov is the U.S. government's preferred site. And you can also go to the National IPR Center, National Intellectual Property Rights Center, and report them. Unfortunately, you may not be able to track them down. So the number one way to avoid problems is to go to places you trust to begin with. Because if you have, just bought something from a organized criminal enterprise in Ukraine, there's very little that your local sheriff or federal agencies can do to help you. We're working constantly with them to provide information, working with them to identify where there are problems. But every time, this is one of those consistent deals. Every time you shut down one website, another one pops up somewhere else.
Right.
And it's a never-ending problem.
No question about it. What about some of these like eBay bid websites and stuff like that? Is it prevalent there as well?
There are a lot. They're very secure, and they're both Amazon.com and eBay are both really good companies, and they do their best. But even with good companies like that, counterfeits do slip in. Again, some of the tips are if you're going through Prime or one of the other sponsored entities that Amazon has, then you're probably in a better situation. If it's somebody that you don't know, or if it's a foreign address that you're being asked to send money to or being shipped from, those are trouble signs that you need to be careful of. But generally, those types of websites also have mechanisms that you asked about earlier, so that if you do get a counterfeit problem or a product that you're not satisfied with, they will try to make you whole. These bad guys will never care, and they will never try to make you whole.
Brian, is there kind of like a cyber war going on now? I mean, if you take a legitimate site of a company that's being scammed by somebody else, are they going after those phony people as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're the Chamber of Commerce, so we represent businesses. We talk to businesses every day. It is a growing cost to them to have to fight these criminal enterprises, and they did it in physical goods before. Well, the cost now on the electronic side and through the internet is increasing. And quite frankly, it jeopardizes legitimate jobs. So there's a loss of sale plus the additional expense of trying to go after them. There are 40 million jobs in the U.S. that are dependent upon innovative companies and companies that depend on intellectual property. And every one of those jobs is at risk when people buy counterfeit goods because of the expanded cost and the lost sales. So we're working on this year round, but this is a time of year where obviously the sales are significantly higher, and we're trying to raise awareness. But I would hope that people keep an eye out for this year round. Car parts, used car parts, airbags, brake pads,
right.
Pharmaceuticals. There's a huge market in fake pharmaceuticals, and the American Board of Pharmacies actually says 97% of websites that sell prescription drugs online are illegitimate. They're not using prescriptions, and so there's very few that you can go through, and consumers get that. So the number of consumers who buy medicines online is significant, and trust online pharmacies is significantly lower than general goods.
Wow.
But it's a year-round problem, and it affects businesses, it affects jobs, and it affects consumer safety.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for what you guys do there at the Chamber. Let me give those websites again, the globalipcenter.com, and what are the other ones?
Sure. So the Global Brand Council is where you can find the top 10 tips. And then safeproducts.gov is where you can go to find out information about what the federal government's doing and to report problems.
If you realize you've been scammed by a counterfeit, I guess one of the recourses, if it's instantly, you can probably call your bank and stop the transfer, couldn't you?
Sure, absolutely. Financial institutions, credit card companies, and so on have some of those protections, but you have to find them quick. These criminals, again, if you've given your credit card information to them, you do need to notify your financial institution, because not only will they charge you for a good they may never send, they may use that for any other number of purposes.
Wow. Okay. Hey, thanks again. Thanks for your service, and thanks for being there. Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Thanks for everything you're doing, and we appreciate the effort that you're taking to let your listeners know about this problem. So thank you, and Christmas to all of you.
Okay, you too. All right, we'll be right back.